This is Arnie from Italian IELTS, making my first of hopefully many videos. And today I'm going to be looking at the overview as part of the Task 1 writing of the IELTS exam. Today I'm going to be looking at IELTS writing Task 1, writing an overview. And specifically, we're going to be looking at what an overview is, why you should write an overview, what your overview should contain, and where it should be written. So, what is an overview? Well, the overview is the first paragraph of your Task 1 response. Here we can see a 4-paragraph response to a Task 1 prompt. The overview is the first paragraph indicated here. Now you might be wondering why write an overview. There are basically 2 reasons, and they both have to do with achieving a higher score. If we look at the writing band descriptors for the Task 1 writing under the criterion of task achievement, we can see the basic difference between a band 6 for task achievement and a band 5. A band 6 response presents a clear overview, whereas if you do not present a clear overview, you limit yourself to a band 5 score for task achievement. The second reason has to do with coherence. Including an overview in the beginning makes your response easier for the reader to understand, and thus more coherent. It helps show that you sequence information logically and that there's progression throughout your response. The reader should be able to roughly draw the visual representation of the data, whether it's a chart, diagram, or map, by only reading your response without seeing the actual visual depiction of the data. The next question concerns what an overview should contain. The overview should contain a description of the big picture. What is happening overall? What the main trends are? If we look at this example prompt, we see there are 4 lines, 3 of them following a similar trend, and 1 following a different trend. The lines depicting the quantity of goods transported by road, water, and pipeline all show an increase during the time period, whereas the line depicting the quantity of goods transported by rail is virtually unchanged when we compare the starting and ending date. These are the main trends and should be included in the second half of your overview. Specific numbers and other details are not necessary at this point. You will use the data from your chart in the analysis which you should do in the paragraphs following your overview. The first half of your overview should be a paraphrase of the sentence in the prompt that describes the data. That would be the first sentence. Be careful to paraphrase the sentence and not copy it word for word. You can see here the writer has changed only 1 word. The word shows has been substituted for illustrates. If you merely copy the words from the prompt, you run the risk of being penalized for that. The next question concerns where the overview should be written. There are no clear guidelines from the band descriptors. Some candidates write their overview at the end, perhaps confusing the concept of an overview with the concept of a conclusion. Some write part of their overview at the beginning and part of the overview right at the end. If you do this, you run the risk of repeating yourself and making things unnecessarily complicated for you and the reader. And there's also the risk that you might run out of time before you finish your overview. So put the overview right at the beginning of your writing. Since the Task 1 writing is meant to be a factual representation, there is no need to write a conclusion. Now here's an example of what not to do. Here's a task requiring the expenditure on fast foods by income group to be compared with the consumption of fast food. And here's a sample response. The writer has written 2 paragraphs, each analyzing a different chart. The writer uses a wide range of structures which are error-free and uses some less common vocabulary items with an awareness of style. Nonetheless, the writer did not include an overview and will thus be limited to a 5 for task achievement.